How good is Albion Online in 2026? Well, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's pretty amazing. I absolutely love this game. But you're not here to learn what I think. After all, I'm just some random internet dude with over 2000 hours in this game. Jesus Christ. You are here because you want to know, is Albion Online worth your time in 2026? You've probably already seen other MMO YouTubers praise this game, rank it highly in their tier lists, or talk about how unexpectedly good it is, but most of them barely even scratch the surface.
This is the story of my first 100 days in Albion Online.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
You want to know, what does the endgame really look like? Is it truly free to play? Or is there a hidden paywall waiting for you? How does it hold up for a solo player, a casual player? And what about power creep, dead content, botting or cheaters? I will explain all of that and more from the position of a veteran player. What even is Albion Online? Well, imagine if League of Legends and old school RuneScape had a child, but then the child got abandoned at birth and it got raised by Escape from Tarkov instead. Yeah, it's kinda difficult to explain. At its core, Albion is an MMO with all of the usual stuff. Leveling, raids, world bosses, guild politics, gathering, crafting, arenas. But at its core, Albion is also a PvP focused, full loot extraction sandbox MOBA. Wait, that wasn't much better. Maybe I could describe the basic game loop. It looks like this. You venture into the open world, alone or in a group. You fight bosses, gather resources, and fulfill various objectives, all of which spawn in the world randomly. You will meet other players, and they're often hostile. You might join a guild and claim some part of the world as your territory, but other guilds will contest those claims in epic guild versus guild battles. Imagine this. You're clearing up a dungeon with your mates. You're leveling up, hoarding loot, chilling on Discord. But dungeons in Albion are not linear. They tend to have multiple entrances. Suddenly, you meet a different group of players doing the exact same thing. The game instantly changes from chill PvE farming to a cutthroat PvP experience. I love it. When you die in Albion, you lose everything you're wearing at that moment. Now, you don't lose the stuff that you've securely stashed at your home previously, and you don't lose your character or your levels. But the gear that you were wearing, yeah, that now belongs to whoever killed you. If you're coming from other MMOs, this sounds like a terrible mechanic, but Albion is designed around you dying a lot and losing your stuff. Again, in other games with vertical progressions, this wouldn't work. If I died in, let's say, World of Warcraft and I lost months of progression, I would uninstall the game at that very moment. In Albion, losing the gear is not that big of a deal. You will probably have a few spare sets stashed securely at your home. Still, being chased by a group of gankers while carrying precious loot in my inventory, even now after years of playing, this gets my heart pumping like no other game can. In Albion, that has consequences, and you will be dying a lot. Mobs hit hard and can easily down you unless you're paying attention and dodge their abilities. Other players will try to take your loot and your life, unless you learn to escape or defend yourself. This game is not only hard, it is also unforgiving and absolutely refuses to hold your hand. It rewards game knowledge and skill over mechanical execution or just simply putting more time in. An experienced player knows which battles to take, which battles to run away from, and how to execute those decisions. As a new player, you will be lacking that vital game knowledge, and thus this game will absolutely dominate you. But if you stick to it, you will gradually feel yourself getting better, making better decisions, outplaying your opponents and gaining confidence. This is the true progression in Albion Online, not just a simple number go up, but an actual tangible skill that you can put to use in an unforgiving open world. If this is an open world PvP, does it mean that the guy with the strongest gear, the highest level, or the biggest group of players always wins? The short answer is no. In Albion you choose which battles you take. People roughly fight other groups of the same size and of the same level. Having more expensive gear does not necessarily make you stronger, it makes you play on a different league. There's a bit more nuance to this, of course. Feel free to pause the video and read this if you want. But the result of this is that there is no matchmaking in the game, but you make your own matches. And you don't always wear the most expensive items you have. Actually, for new players, it's smart to sell any expensive items they find and buy more cheap items instead, at least until they're ready to play with the big boys. Albion Online is completely free to play. It's common to compete at the highest levels without spending any real money. There are no loot boxes, no hidden paywalls, no dark monetization patterns. The game is monetized in 3 main ways. First, cosmetics. There are skins that can only be bought through the cash shop. These only serve aesthetic purposes and don't actually affect the gameplay in any way. Second, there is a premium subscription. This is like a pay-to-progress thing. When you have premium active, you earn more experience from killing mobs, you gain more loot from doing activities. Lastly, you can use real money to buy in-game currency, which you can then trade with other players. This means that you can buy any item in the game as long as you're able to find somebody willing to sell it to you. Just do know that if you decide to do this and swipe for the most expensive set in the game, you will play against other people with expensive sets and they will know what they are doing, so they will kill you and take your stuff from you. This is why Albion is jokingly referred to as a pay-to-lose game. It feels like you can just swipe your credit card and get the most expensive gear and be an absolute king, but this feeling is short-lived because eventually you will find someone who actually knows how to play the game and they will outplay you. So your uber expensive gear becomes a donation to someone else. Albion is one of the very few MMOs that's been actually growing over the years. Across European and American servers alone, you're looking at tens of thousands of active accounts every week, with the Asian server not far behind. What this means is that cities are filled with people, markets are active, there are big battles happening every evening. The game feels extremely alive. Albion doesn't really suffer from dead content, not in the traditional MMO sense, but it does have content cycles. Instead of constantly pumping out brand new zones, the developers focus on improving and reworking existing systems. Still, there is a lot of content in the game. What usually happens is that the most recently updated or reworked activities become the most popular. That's where the players gravitate. Meanwhile, the content that hasn't been touched in a while doesn't disappear. It just slowly fades out of the spotlight until the future patch brings it back. Then the cycle repeats. For example, right now, all the rage is about faction warfare, which was updated in the last content patch. While my most favorite content, the mists, have been kinda dead for a while, but we are patiently waiting for the devs to bring them back. So instead of content being permanently dead, Albion constantly rotates what's relevant. Different activities rise, fall, and come back over time. I actually like this, it keeps the game feeling fresh, so even if I would prefer different content to be popular, this kinda forces me to try different things in the game. Your skills are still relevant elsewhere, so it transitions pretty nicely. Story. There is no story. There is not even a main quest line. Actually, there are no quests at all in Albion Online. You are not going to kill 15 goblins or pick 20 flowers for an NPC. You are not the champion of Azeroth, you're not the chosen one or whatever. You're just a nameless adventurer in a big world that's indifferent to you. There are no daily quests, no FOMO, you don't have to log in every day, and it is technically possible to play this casually. Especially as a solo player, I will get to that. But yeah, the nice thing is that if you played this game years ago and you stopped, and you log in now, your gear will still hold value. The same value as it held before actually, as there is no power creep, the devs are not adding new and new tiers of equipment. They do change stuff in balance patches, like put some numbers up and down, but it's the same as in League or in other PvP games. So this game does not have to become your second job, you don't have to log in every day to grind or whatever. It's very possible to just log in casually, go into the open world or like go into arenas or corrupted dungeons which are like instant access now. So technically you can play for like an hour or two in like once a week or something. However, and this is my personal opinion, but I think the most rewarding and satisfying content in this game is offered once you can like commit to it a little bit. If you can sweat it just a little. The game has the old school MMO design where if you want to get somewhere you have to travel there, so you will spend a lot of time on a horse. And generally this game works best if you have some good goal which you can commit towards, either solo or in a guild. Generally I think this game works best if you are looking for something that you can sink your teeth into. So if you're like a dad with a family, a full-time job, and a few kids, and you have like 2 hours to game every weekend, I would recommend to look for a different game. Again, in Albion you don't have to go full no life, you don't have to go full Sweatlord. I personally know a few gamer dads who log into the game here and there. I would not recommend it. And one reason for that is that this game is hard. It's very hard, especially if you play solo. Myself, I play solo 90% of the time, but now that I've spent so much time in this game, I know it in and out. I know how not to die in the lethal zones, I know how to avoid ganks, I know how to handle myself in PvP. As a new player, you will not know these things, and you are going to meet other players who have been sweating this game for years. They will outplay you. If you like a challenge, you will love this. And to be fair, the game does offer a bunch of like non-lethal zones where you can just learn the ropes. There is also a PvP dungeon where people fight, but if you die, you don't lose your equipment, just your inventory. There are PvP zones where you don't lose anything at all, so you can just practice. It is possible to easily ease your way into this game, but the most rewarding experience, in my personal opinion, is offered in the lethal zones, and those are difficult to get into. They are a bit easier if you have a group of players or if you can join a guild. Guilds are constantly looking for new players, even for beginners, because more players allow them to do group content. They want to have players, so if you are a beginner, they will take you over and teach you how to play this game, which is the safest and easiest way to get into it. I personally didn't know any players in the game before I started playing it. I made a lot of friends in the game, in the guilds that I joined. Again, now I mostly play solo because it's easy, you don't have to coordinate with people, but playing in a group is the most fun and the best memories I made in this game. Cheaters, hackers and botting. I have personally not met a single hacker in this game. Over the long years that I've been playing, not a single cheater, or maybe I did, I just wouldn't know about it. I do know people who swear they did encounter cheaters. On the other hand, I've been accused of cheating a few times when I ganked other players and they didn't know how I did it. So I do take this with a grain of salt, but cheating is not a problem in this game. The game also has a unique solution to botting, which plague most MMOs, and that is, since most of the game is full of PvP, bots would just get eaten alive, so there are no bots in the lethal zones. In the beginner safe zones, it is possible to find a gathering bot. The developers tend to ban them quite regularly though, but still, the gathering bots can only gather low tier resources in the beginner zones, so the great economy is not affected. Oh, the economy, did I mention that this entire game has a player driven economy? So all of the equipment, all of the gear you find had to be crafted by someone else. Now if you don't like gathering or crafting, you don't have to do any of that. The game gives you a freedom to do whatever you enjoy. If you do like to play economy though, if the idea of opening a spreadsheet is appealing to you, this might be one of the best games at all to become a merchant, second only to Eve maybe. There is a lot of other things I obviously did not mention in this video because it's already getting too long, so let me wrap it up. Albion Online is in a great state, it's a popular game and you should definitely give it a try. The monetization sounds worse than it actually is. The game is constantly receiving new updates and it is absolutely not too late to start now. Perhaps by using the beginner's guide I made a while ago and will appear on your screen right now.